Hello virtual pilots, I'm Andre Celesti, and today we would like to share with you the results of one of our tests with the first iteration of multi-threading in DCS World. We ran the test with 4 different modules: the Viper, the Tomcat, the Mirage 2000 and the Apache. With no mods installed, on the Caucasus map as a free flight at low level and high level, plus in a complex mission with hundreds of units present on the map. We did the test in 2D and VR. And no, we didn't run it on a high-spec system. We used a 4-year-old system running DCS with an i7 8700, an RTX 2060 Super and 32GB of RAM, having the sim installed on a Samsung 860 SSD. We have the following settings for the 2D version and these settings for the VR. So without further ado, let's start. First, we got the Viper in a low-level flight. On the left side is the non-empty version and on the right, you guessed it, is the multi-threading version. We can see a difference of about 40 FPS increase, running way smoother. This is a clear map with no units present. Now the Viper is a very well-balanced module when we speak about performance. Previously, before the empty implementation, I used to get around 55 to 60 FPS. But with multi-threading, as you can see, we get a wonderful 92 to 95 FPS, with small differences here and there depending on the scenery. The Tomcat is a bit more thirsty for performance. Notice a drop on the non-empty version at 45 compared with the previous module. But despite that, the improvements with multi-threading make a difference for this module, taking the FPS in the 70s. Not bad. Not bad at all. Let's see some more. Now the Mirage 2000 gets an average 50 FPS in the non-empty version, while with multi-threading we reach the 80s, and at speed this is awesome, as I enjoy doing low-level flights in this bird. Dense forest areas decrease performance in the first test, but with empty bringing the counter way over 60 frames per second, we can easily say this is another great improvement for flights in this module. Meanwhile, 90 FPS above water can only give me goosebumps. Alright, let's move on. So we choose to include in our test the Apache. Why? Well, take a look at the numbers. Yes, the Apache likes to drain a lot of FPS, but with MT, things are definitely better. Where I was getting around 37 FPS, now I get around 70. This is a notable improvement and I wonder what can we expect in the future. In the following test, we got a complete mission that contains many ground and air units. Now the Caucasus map is an FPS friendly map, and compared with the Syria map for example, yes, things look good over here, but rest assured, we will continue to do our test in other maps as well. We see that the FPS boost is maintaining for all modules. This is great news for multiplayer servers that include dynamic missions or campaigns, and yes, speaking of campaigns, this is perfect for those of you who had a hard time flying any of the bot campaigns from a third-party developer. We brought our test at high altitude where things change. This is a clear map and clear skies, and it's crystal clear, the FPS is even better. It's normal with the most modules over 60 FPS on the non-empty version and way over 100 FPS in the empty version. Keep in mind, I have the vertical synchronization option off, so we can see the differences. Otherwise, you will see a locked FPS depending on your monitor and no higher numbers. Then we switch on the highly complex mission and add dense clouds that are set on Ultra. The difference is big, around 50 extra FPS in between. This is the moment MT shines. So this was just a 2D monitor gameplay test in DCS World. But before we move on to the VR test, let's hear from our sponsor. VR Rock is offering something we deem right for our community: blue light protection and specialized prescription lenses for your VR headsets. Yes, you heard me right. It's a problem I encountered ever since I started using my VR headset. My friends who wear prescription glasses couldn't enjoy flying in DCS as my headset couldn't safely fit without taking the glasses off. VR Rock will manufacture the lenses according to the prescription information you provide, fitting most VR headsets currently on the market, and will ship it worldwide with the benefit of a tax-free policy. They also include non-prescription eye protection lenses. If you use our Hip Games discount code, you will receive 5% on any order and support our channel in the process. Link is in the video description. And we move on with our VR test. Same situation, but now in VR with a Samsung Odyssey. For those of you who use SteamVR, make sure you got OpenXR installed and add the following command line for DCS World. This will force to run in VR even though you will start the DCS MT version. So let's take a look if we get any VR improvements. For the Viper, we already see a smaller difference than before in regards of FPS, but still a notable one. Remember that anything above 30 to 35 FPS is good. Now I know that things are not set on high like before in the graphical settings, but this is up to each user. For me, this works perfectly fine for the amount of time I spend in VR. And if you wonder, I have set the pixel density to 1.0. There is always room for improvements, and I am waiting to see the future iteration of multithreading in DCS World, and also think about the DLSS implementation. We started to record our future Hip Talk show where we talk about the performance gains with MT, the bugs, the problems we encounter, and what lies ahead with DLSS and Vulkan. If you want to join the conversation, check the video description on how to get a token. Also, I have an announcement for our Patreon supporters. We received a special invite to a beta test of a great add-on that is being developed for DCS World. It's still behind closed doors, with a few testers being allowed to check the DCS web editor. We will cover it when it's ready to launch. It will be a free product from what I can understand, but until then, it was nice to get access for some of our members. And that's it. Thank you all for watching. As always, a big thank you to our Patreon that support our channel: Rhinox, Steven Adashchik, Pegasus24, Runan, Bish, PV, aka Malone, Santiago Ordonez, Hobo, and Slackman. We also want to thank our viewers that donate to our channel. And if you want to help us grow, well, we created a Patreon page with a few benefits for our subscriber. Use the thanks button and leave us a like if you find our video informative and entertaining. And of course, subscribe to keep in touch with all the latest news on your favorite simulators and games. I am Andre Celesti, reminding you to fly safe, and I'll see you next time.